What is going on, guys? Captain Barbie here. Today we have some incredible news. Version 13.0 is coming. OPTC for 9th anniversary. Love the sound of that. Who let Yoshi cook? That is the first question on everyone's lips, but the man himself, Yoshi, he's coming in with some big guns blazing. We have 13.0 update maintenance. First and foremost, shout out to Godot, the GOAT, for compiling all this information. I really appreciate you and all the work that you do for this community. Big maintenance, though. Long maintenance here, so 9.5 hours. Hopefully everything kind of gets sorted out in time. We're looking forward to this one here. But as you can see, some crazy news. Crazy news here. I took some screenshots and posted on Twitter at Captain Puppy with 2 eyes if you want to go follow me on those ends. But let's just get into it with the initial comment of Pirate King Adventures. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm going to delve into these things on my own accord. I'm going to tinfoil hat. I'm going to theory craft. I'm going to make some stuff up. It's probably not going to be correct in any capacity, but I thought I might as well throw my hat in the ring and, give my thoughts and opinions on what these could be, what it could lead towards, and kind of look at it from different perspectives, or maybe a more nuanced perspective, to say the least. But, like I said, Pirate King Adventures team up with the Straw Hat Pirates and other allies to defeat scaling bosses. Now, I want to first and foremost say, Yoshi has been listening to my conversations with Stump, with Todd, on GGP. He is tapped in. When I was in the prison, I'm kidding. But Yoshi is definitely listening to me. Again, I am kidding. But it is uncanny because I do recall I've talked about this maybe ad nauseum with Stump in the past in regards to this scaling boss idea. And I think people in general have had this kind of idea for a very long time. It kind of seems like it's going to work in an interesting sense. But let's just, continue with the news on ahead. Defeat powerful bosses to raise defeat level. Get great rewards based on the defeat level. Shout out to the Australian internet without not being able to load these images. Well, what do we have here? So we have these new green tickets. We have obviously this new cola. And then generically we have bounty, we have stamina meats, we have berries, and we have normal cola. So obviously, we have to take these rewards at face value. Naturally, the most important thing are these green tickets, which I believe will end up being the currency you use, or the currency you earn that you end up using to purchase rewards. That's my assumption from what I've seen so far. This is really cool. This whole idea of map and hexes. Adventure to the furthest side of the map and defeat the bosses. Certain hexes, maybe I should say, may give you an advantage, so choose wisely. So all we can see in this image alone, we have an image of Usopp and a pirate flag. I'm going to guess this is Pirate Rumble because further down in the fine print, it does mention that you can play Rumble or you can play normal adventure when you're playing this mode. So I'm going to assume the pirate flag is Rumble. We have this really lovely bento box with some sake on the side here. Sake these nuts. We have Kaido boss. We have a bunch of chests. Then you have Zoro and you have Ace. And then obviously we have an arrow leading to Roger, which is level 32, which makes sense to be maybe potentially the highest level. They have this really weird obsession with level 30 or around those ends being the point of a high level. So maybe the further on we go on the hexes, the harder the bosses will be, is my assumption. And it seems really cool. This part here is really neat, which I want to kind of delve into. Deliver favorites to the respective Straw Hat Pirates for various events. Now, what this leads me to believe is when you land on this Usopp tile, if you have gathered the food or the item that correlates to Usopp, Usopp might give you a certain buff. He might give you a certain reward. He might give you more rewards down the line, maybe more green tickets, more berry, more cola, or whatever the case is. And I think the way that it seems to work is that, let's say this bento box is attributed to Zoro, you might want to create a path that takes you, so you click on Usopp, and then you go to the bento box, and then you go to Zoro, because you picked up the item that correlates to him. So in this situation, we have the Schmeat, pause, that Luffy enjoys, pause again. And then, it has this weird little event called Big Eater. Maybe Big Eater constitutes to giving you more HP in the fight. That could be a really interesting position to take on that as well. But the way that it seems to work is that we start on one side of the map, we progressively make our way to the other side of the map. We can either collect rewards, we can verse bosses, we can play Rumble, and we have this kind of side objective of delivering the favorites to the respective Straw Hats, you know, for various events. This is a really cool concept. This is something that the game has needed for a while, a just mode that you can play. We will get into it further in the fine print because there is some specifics here that kind of gets into it. Obviously Godot, the GOAT, you know, like his compiled information, so we you know, let's just get into it. It appears to be a progressive based game mode where you land on progress through where you land progress through hexes on a map, which may offer advantages during the map rewards or face enemies. The end goal is to fight the boss, indicated by the purple hex. The boss scales in difficulty, hence the defeat level. The notice mentions that you will be able to team up with allies in this game mode. This may indicate that alliances will be used in the game mode. That's a really good point. I didn't think of that, but that actually works out really well and seems really interesting. There is something regarding favorites to Straw Hats. It is possible that during the game mode you may receive favorites and you can try to land on their hexes to deliver them to the respective Straw Hat. That also makes sense, kind of what we attributed. And then not limited to what we also mentioned in the past. I personally think that the way this is going to work is... Oh, and then I also should actually mention here as well, PKA or Pirate King Adventure will be unlocked at any level, which is great after you complete the tutorial. There are no rankings. This is a godsend. We have another game mode that hopefully isn't on the difficulty caliber of Grand Voyage, but is still a little bit of, like, there's still challenge associated to it. But not being a ranking event is such a blessing in disguise. I think a lot of people will maybe misunderstand or misinterpret. Having it not being a ranking event means that there is no inherent stress or there's no problem in you not playing the game mode. And I think that that's something that Treasure Cruise has needed for a very long period of time and needs a more recurring sense. You have things like Grand Party is in a competitive game mode. If you don't play, you would, you know, your rewards are diminished. If you don't play Pirate Rumble, your rewards are diminished. If you don't play Treasure Map, you miss out on a whole swath of items that you're required to progress your account. If you don't play Kazuna, you miss out on a lot of consumable items that allow you to progress your account as well. Things like Grand Voyage are negligible because they don't really give you anything. Things like the monthly total event give you some like basic rewards and a new character, you know, and all these kind of extra island things as well are obviously non-competitive. And overall, like, having a non-competitive mode is another fantastic addition to the content cycle. And the way that we see this as part of the content cycle is that PKA will run on a stamina system. You will only recover 1 adventure stamina per day. However, you can refill that stamina with the standard stamina meats, which is a great another use of the stamina meat. And the number of times you can refill is limited per day. My guess is going to be 3 or maybe 4 or 5, depending on how they feel or what kind of rewards they end up giving the player overall. But 3 makes sense. You get 1 for free and then you can do 2 others further on. How many stamina mates is going to consume will also be an interesting factor in things. But I think overall this is a really cool idea. My guess will be you play through the island, you pick up these green tickets, and you either spend them in a Kazuna-like box system, where at the end of the adventure or in a separate menu you can spend them, or you have it as the blue ticket shop, i.e. the treasure map shop, and there will be a swath of rewards that you're able to purchase with these green tickets. Now we have blue, red, and green tickets for reward purposes, and obviously legend tickets are also considered red tickets. You have the Pirate Rumble tickets, you have Kazuna tickets, and now we also have Pirate King Adventure tickets as well. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be a freaking incredible mode. Fingers crossed though. Again, I say this, but it's going to be a, you never know. It could be a horrible mode. It could be really bad, but I'm trying to be as positive as I possibly can. So fingers crossed this is going to be a fun and enjoyable game mode for us to actually enjoy and play on a consistent basis. Moving on though. Rush Sugo Special is here. meet certain requirements during the quest to activate. So there's a cool little indication here of when you hit that, maybe for that final perfect, you can hit multiple more rushes and then finish. By spending HP, you can deal more attacks. If you miss a tap, the rush ends. Chain the tap combo to unleash amazing flurries of attacks. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. The anniversary legend will be a combo-based captain ability. Buffalo is coming back to reign supreme. But in all honesty, this is a really cool mechanic. It seems very interesting. The first question I have is this like a final tap, like a last tap, final tap, super tandem thing where you have to level it up, or it's given to a character, or is this an extra special, or is this our new super tandem that we're gonna get this year? Is this like something that only certain characters can unleash? These are all my questions. Because if it is just an addition on top of what we already have, because it says like here, rush available over a character. So maybe this is like similar to a super tandem, where like if you bring Luffy and you have Zoro and Sanji on the crew, you can then further tap again with Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji and deal more damage. The interesting factor here is obviously the spending HP, you can deal more attacks. So now HP might have more of a value, and maybe units that reduce damage taken or add this like threshold so they reduce damage over certain amounts will probably gain a bit more value depending on how valuable this rush pseudo specialist is gonna be. My apparent opinion of this so far is that it's going to be similar to Super Tandem. It's our new thing. And I'm a bit concerned at that because we already see that Super Tandem is this overblown potential ability that so many characters have that we don't have the resources to actually max out. Naturally, it's a money-making mechanism, so it makes sense. And then obviously Final Tap is this bewilderingly challenging thing to max out where we also don't get enough resources to do so. So my concern already lies there immediately, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. So there's not a lot here. What has the GOAT Godot said? Based on the description, basically it appears to be extra taps you can add onto the standard 6 taps, provided that you meet the certain criteria. 3 rushes. These rushes require HP to do more attacks. Miss tap means you'll end it. Therefore, chain buffs are probably really valuable for this. Again, makes a lot of sense. Chain boundary as well will probably be an excellent factor into these things as well. So once again, chain lock is in the bin. Hold that. Shanks Crew 6+, aka fuck stump, hold that. And then the final thing from this update, which, you know, don't get it twisted, because everyone kind of had this assumption, but was very interested to see how this would work, is the new features to Shipyard. So about ship upgrades, ships can now increase to level 11 and level 12, which require S Cola, probably like Super Cola or whatever it is required for upgrading a ship to level 11 and above. Obtain them from PKA. Raise a ship's grade to level 12 to modify them. So use Cola or Super Cola plus berries to modify. Shout out to Australian Internet for loading this image. And you can add HP, attack, and recovery stat modifiers to ships. Basically, what I've gathered from this is that it is candy for ships, which is awesome. You know, it's now another resource that we can farm, that we can gather, that we get from playing events. We can use this to further make our ships better. And mind you, as long as Super Cola, as long as it, I mean, Cola is so readily available and farmable that this doesn't seem like the most difficult thing to kind of max out, which I believe there's more information further down. I'm interested to see how the HP, attack, and recovery work in this realm. And as you can see, it has like 2-star, which is kind of like a little further here below with the modification rank. The modification rank, there are 5 total ranks of modification results. Higher the rank, the more stats you have. So at level 2, you max out at 60, then you go 90, then you go 120, then you go to 150. So you can rainbow ships. We now can rainbow ships, the true flex. I don't care about your last tap level 5, Super Tandem level 5, jabronis. I care about, do you have a rainbow ship or not? That is the true flex season. Also keep in mind, Autoing the lowest stam of monthly total events has now gained a lot more value because those events drop cola. Henceforth, you know, there's now more opportunities to max out these kinds of ships. If all 3 of these ranks, which is HP, attack, and recovery, are rank 4 or better, you get a special effect added. Oh no, so special effect activated, sorry. Meet the rank set requirement to activate the ship's special effect. Special effects vary by ships. This could be, so as you can see here, one of them has a cooldown. So some ships, of course, have special effects. Getting cooldown on them could make them more viable. I believe there are ships that obviously give you damage reduction, ships that heal you, ships that remove paralysis. That's really neat, and that could come into play when it comes to clearing content in the future. And then the last thing here, which is keep modifying the same ship. If you continue to modify the same ship, the modification bonus gauge will fill. When the gauge is filled, the next modification will guarantee to have at least one 4-star rank or better modification. Keep filling the gauge to get a better guaranteed modification bonus. So at the end of the day, what this seems, and then obviously our final thing here is we can feed multiple color at once, which makes life a little easier to get these bonuses. What we can see here is that it's just going to be a crap ton of cola, which is awesome. And then once you've got it to level 12, you can keep feeding. So level 11 and level 12 requires S cola, which means you have to play PKA. And then from after you've maxed it to level 12, you can feed it either or to continue maxing out your ship, getting stat buffs, and then overall just making the ship better, and then potentially giving it special effect activations, which could probably be cooldown, or some ships may even gain special effects as well. Naturally, very exciting. I'm beyond excited for this. I think I'm really interested in to see how this thing goes, and you know what comes of it overall. I think the thing I'm interested about the most is in the ship category is what do these attribute to? Is this just like candy where you get plus 150 attack, 150 recovery, and 150 HP? So then your character technically goes from plus 600 if you have it maxed out to plus 1050. No, that's right. Yeah, plus 1050 in terms of like candy stat buffs. Or is this like a flat stat rate? Or how this works will be a very interesting mechanic overall. Look, at the end of the day, is this update worthy of 9th anniversary? The big ringer is this mode here, Pirate King Adventures. Because we can only play it potentially 1 to X amount of times a day, it's going to be interesting to see if it's fun is the big ringer. Is it a solved mode? Does it change every time? Does it work in seasons where season 1 you're versing Roger as the final boss, season 2 doing blank? Does the defeat level increase every time you clear the boss? Does it increase passively? You know, there's always questions that obviously will be answered in due time, but these are things that I'm thinking about because at the end of the day, this game, Treasure Cruise, has been very lackluster for the last, I would say, 4 months, 5 months. The same cycle, chucking a blitz battle every so often. Grand Party has been is a much so a negative to the entirety of the game. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully this being a very fun game mode. I think for content creators, this is great because if it's like a roguelite style thing where every day it's randomly generated and different, that literally means it's a free video for content creators every day, which is awesome for them. And the other question is that, will it be like the same layout for everyone, or will it be different for everyone, or how will that work as well? Obviously, I'm as a skeptic for Treasure Cruise, but somebody who absolutely loves and adores the game, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm scared, but overall I think I'm looking forward to it. This comes out, all this stuff comes out about 2 weeks or so before Anni drops, which will be the 12th of May. Japan time, which will then be the 11th of May PST, if I got my time zones correct. I'm keen. This is like a great update. This looks like the worst part of it because it looks like it's going to be another cash grab upgrade system, which is cringe, but if it's not, W. If it is, massive, massive L, which is a shame. Ship upgrade looks cool. Great place now. Use Cola and Berry. Cola, you're going to be able to constantly farm, which means you're going to be able to actually get these modification ranks up, at least at a relatively good pace, depending on how much you farm, which is obviously good. You're not limited. You're only limited by the S Cola, which kind of determines from getting it from PKA. I think they also mentioned here, like, only certain ships will get the upgrade for the time being, which overall, details about the ships details about the ships that will have level 11 and beyond added will be available at a later date. As for further details, okay. So we don't know if it's specific ships, if it's every ship, if it's one ship, or whatever it is, but this is kind of like a patchwork upgrade system to what Forest should have been. We should have got this in cohesion or alongside Forests. I think Forest is a mode that should be brought back, even though I hate them myself. It's you know, it's a great way to introduce more ships to the game instead of charging for 30 gems for them. The modification thing will be interesting. Is it a luck-based thing? Is it purely just spam as many Cola as you can? You know, so there's a lot of questions which will get answered in about a week, 7 days from today. You know, so I'm very excited. I'm very keen. I'm looking forward to 13.0 and all of its shenanigans, and I'm looking forward to the game breaking and being put in maintenance again and blah blah blah. But I appreciate the fact that they're doing it a couple of weeks before anniversary to hopefully iron out a lot of the kinks. All I can say is don't pull on any banners. You're delusional if you are. Save your gemmies, please. I beg of you. You know, and 9th Anni is already looking to be a very exciting mode, so long as these bits of content keep up and prevail. I think I've held everyone here long enough. 22 minutes of concise content. With that being said, though, I've been Captain Papi. Thank you guys for listening to me discuss the version 13.0. I'm excited. I'm keen. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.